So, we talked about the 8 steps to mindfulness, and remember I said I don't want to rush through that summary last week about the skillful intention. And these 3 skillful intentions counteract the 3 unskillful intentions of desire, ill will, and harmfulness, right? So we have to constantly reflect upon ourselves, the unwholesome thoughts, and to understand ourselves, continuously and thoroughly. Why am I complaining? Why am I angry with him? Why is he angry with me? How can I implement the samadhi, or the concentration that we develop by sitting on a cushion? How can we implement it and integrate it into our life when we are walking on the road, or when we are communicating with people, or when we are dealing with difficult situations? How can we be mindful? How can we be equanimous? How can we be balanced? How can we be less reactive? And so we do have to constantly remind ourselves, and that integration is the most important. Because without that integration, you are just sitting there, trying to develop this samadhi, and when in the outside world you go crazy reacting. So what's the point of practicing? What's the point of sitting on the cushion? What's the point of coming to the Dhamma class? There's no point doing that. A waste of time, isn't it? And waste of life. And the time is for you to actually cultivate and progress and improve and correct yourself. And also to lessen the burden, lessen all the baggages that we have been carrying on for lifetimes. Right? And I don't know whether you still recall the story I told you about 2 weeks ago about this friend of mine, being so angry that people lie and accuse him. And he was still angry, but less angry now. He started to see what I've been trying to put into his head is, there must be a cause that these things arises at this time. There must be a connection between you and that person. Otherwise, why would he accuse you and not accuse other people? Why? There must be a reason, right? There's so many people around him, and why he just pick you up? It's just accuse you. There must be a reason. But because we do not understand this whole thing of law of cause and effect, and we were not taught that way. And even though we are taught that way, but we have a habit pattern of seeing things just on the apparent truth, the surface truth. Oh, this is what it is. He accused me, he abused me, he struck me, he hit me, whatever, That's just the apparent truth. But why would he pick on you? So you start to reflect on yourself, and you start to remember all these knowledges that you have picked up by learning the Dhamma. And say, oh, that is why. And there is this awakened moment. It's, oh, aha, yes. Now I see the sky opening. And all these grief, all this grudge would start to dissolve, because you see the past causes, and there is nobody to blame. Not even yourself to blame. It's just, circumstances that arise that you have developed that connection. Okay, how can I resolve that? Then you start to look for solutions from a different point of view, rather than sticking on to the whole old point of view, and rather than just believing that this is the truth. There is, such a deep truth, deeper meaning of the truth. That's the ultimate truth, is you start to see the connection, and also you start to come out of that attachment. Once you start to be so stubbornly attached, the whole thing will continue to churn in your head, around your eyes, in your ears, around you, everywhere, and you will never be able to come out. So if you are so angry with somebody else, or if somebody has, done something wrong to you, and if that person is still hurting you right now, then you check on yourself, who is hurting me? That person is long gone. He may have disappeared from this life, or even from earth. He may have disappeared on earth already. So who is hurting you? You yourself, your own emotions are hurting you. Okay? And you allow that emotions, you allow those memories from that incident to continuously hurting you. Because we don't understand this truth. We only see the apparent truth. We don't understand that there is a deeper meaning to that relationship. Okay? So practicing skillful, intention is so important, because you have to continuously check yourself, and continuously be aware, and continuously try to develop a more wholesome intention, so that all the physical and the verbal expressions would be wholesome, would be skillful. It is not easily, because that old habit pattern is so stubbornly attached in there. It's not easy, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It is definitely possible, but it's just take some time. Okay, so remember that wholesome that wholesome intention has to be continuously generated, moment to moment. Though I always stress that moment to moment, moment by moment. But don't be disappointed with yourself if one moment you lost that awareness, and you go so like this. Accept yourself the way you are at that moment. Oh God, I lost the awareness. I lost, and I've completely reacted. And then you come back, smilingly come back. Otherwise, if you don't, then you actually start to multiply the negativity that you reacted to. All right, you start to multiply new negativity to the old negativity. So you're actually multiplying your garbage. You're not emptying it out. Okay, so remember that mindfulness of skillful intention, and it can definitely help us to minimize and eventually eliminate the anger, the ill will, the hatred, the animosity. But it's a tedious, long path. Okay, and it's not easy. So remember, I talked about all the time skillful. That means samma in Pali terms. And now we come to the third step to happiness. Mindful step is samma vacha. Okay, so the next few actually is a group. It's a group. We can group them into a perspective we call morality or ethics. Okay, so samma vacha, that means the speech, skillful speech, right speech, and then samma kammanta, that means the right kind of action. All right, physical action, and skillful livelihood, samma ajiva. Okay, these are all Pali terms for the English translation. So these three, these are called the right actions, the skillful actions, and these three actually we call them a sila, morality. Okay, so we all know that from the book What the Buddha Taught. We all studied this. But remember, why are these important? You all know that. You all should know that. Why are these important? A foundation? Okay, foundation for what?
It's the right path.
Okay, foundation for the right path? Okay, the right path. What do you mean by the right path? Yeah, but where does the path lead you to?
The end of suffering.
The end of sufferings. Yeah, liberate yourself from sufferings. And so the basic step we have to build up is to build up a moral, a morality life, which is sila. And the Buddha said we have to see the slightest fault. We have to see the danger in the slightest fault that we have. Don't underestimate any slightest fault. Okay? And it is very difficult because we make so many mistakes throughout the day. And at the end of the day, if you spend 5 minutes sitting on your bed and think, what have I done today? Okay, this not proper, that not correct, this thought, that thought, gosh, and it's endless. So, and there was this story. This father said to the son, you have made so many mistakes. The son said, no, I didn't make any mistakes. No, I didn't say anything bad. Blah blah blah. He said, the father said, okay. Every time you become aware that you have made a fault, and you will go and put a nail in a board, a piece of plywood, put a nail in there. And at the end of the day, he saw many nails on the plywood. And his father said, you see, look at all these. He said, but it's okay. We are all allowed to make mistakes. And his father said, okay, every time, okay, you make a wholesome thought, you pull out one nail. So at the end of a few months, he pulled out all the nails. But the father said, look, there are holes in there. That means the hurt is done. Whatever harmful action, either physical or verbal, you do to yourself, you do to others, even though you try to rectify, even though you try to correct, but the hurt is there. So rather than trying to mend the hurt, we try not to take the first step. So the Buddha said, see the danger in the slightest fault. Okay, so remember this it builds up the morality and ethics. And because, why is it such an important foundation? Take a guess if you don't know. Why is it important? Why is the foundation important? It's true. It's true. But what does this foundation help?
It can help you to concentrate.
Help the concentration. What does concentration help? How does it help?
To realize that everything is just conditioned.
Yes. And that is what kind of effect?
Well, it's an expression like think no harm, wish no harm, and do no harm.
Yeah. It has a purification effect, doesn't it? When you are concentrated, everything starts to slow down, start to settle down. And as I always say in the beginning of a meditation class, meditation is nothing glamorous. Meditation itself, mindfulness meditation itself, is a sedimentation. Mindfulness meditation is a filter. Filter out what? Impurities, right. So why do we need this strong foundation? Because we need to do a lot of filtering work. Without this concentration, without this samadhi, the filter cannot be done. Because if you keep shaking up that mind is always agitated. How can you see what is inside the bottle of water? Unless you allow it to settle down, that means concentration. You're stable, you're grounded, you're quiet, you're calm. Then you start to see what is inside the mind, right? then that's when you start to see what is inside the mind, then purification becomes possible. Yeah? Sensible, hey? Logical, good. I'm glad you agree with me. So, so it aids in mental purification, all right? And because sila has two aspects. Sila has two aspects. We talked about these two aspects long time ago. I will see whether you can remember. How does it work? Sila. What does it do to you? There are two aspects to the effects of sila. Yes, Sue?
Well, I don't know if this is what you're looking for.
Okay.
But I was just thinking how important it is for the cycle of karma.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do any of these things and generate harm or any of those things, the flip side of that is increasing your
Karma, the unskillful karma. So that means you try to avoid doing that, right? Great, very good. Even though you make a big thing of what I'm going to say, just two words. But that's good. That's a good interpretation. The first is you avoid, right? Avoidance, right? You avoid to do unskillful actions, the unskillful speech, and then you abstain from speaking. Is avoidance the same as abstinence? Bill, Elder Bill, is avoidance the same as abstinence?
I don't know, Fred. I haven't thought about it.
I haven't got a clue. That's a very British saying. I haven't got a clue. Avoidance is different than abstinence. In what?
Because you can avoid something, like walk around it and not acknowledge
Not
that it's
paying
there.
any attention. Abstinence, you actually intentionally
Mm-hmm.
trying
You've
to.
actually seen it and you have chosen
Yes,
not to.
yes. It's a commitment, right?
Yeah.
Abstinence is a commitment, whereas this avoidance is, you avoid from seeing it, or you try to evade it or whatever. But this abstinence is actually you are performing an avoidance. You're doing it. You're actually commitment. Yes.
I'm trying to think of an example.
Yeah.
So avoiding would be not buying the chocolate, but abstinence would be having
Not
the
eating the
at home
chocolate.
and seeing it and not eating it.
Exactly. Wow, very good. So you don't have to buy chocolate anymore. You can still buy chocolate, Clock. She will abstain from taking the chocolate.
It's a very dicey business, though, where you're dealing with someone who has moods, because giving a person space is often interpreted by that person as ignoring them, and ignoring them, of course, means you're affronted.
Oh.
It's a difficult thing to deal with.
Well, you give in the back of your mind, that intention is a wholesome intention, but it's just not being appreciated by the other party. So it's not your part. It's not your fault. So don't take it hard. Don't have hard feeling. As long as you have tried your best, giving that space with such a skillful intention, you've done your part. Right? Remember Ajahn Brahm said, "You are a pig." Remember he said that? If you check yourself, I'm really not a pig. So he's not actually calling you. He's calling somebody a pig. He's probably calling himself a pig. So, so that's very important. The intention is so very important. So we know that sila, where with observation of sila, we know it brings harmony. harmony in different levels, right? Harmony is socially, interpersonal relationships will greatly improve if we all have a moral mind, right? And psychologically, if we have this morality, it actually brings harmony to our own mind. To our own mind. We feel good. We feel balanced. We won't also feel worry and fearful and, all that all the time. So we actually protect ourselves from this having this inner guilt or remorse multiplying itself. Okay, and also karmically, in the karma sense, we actually we develop a harmony with the cosmic world around us. And also, when we start to contemplate on this foundation, you will feel that calmness, that insight, and that peacefulness that strong morality will bring. Otherwise, when we have done something, constantly making mistakes, and you try to meditate, oh boy, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, even little mistake, and then you meditate, it becomes so big. It's like, oh, I have made such a big mistake, or I have said such a bad thing. When you start to meditate, it actually allows you to, sink into that quietness much faster. If the morality is strong and the foundation is really sturdy and strong, okay. So that's why the Buddha said these three actually is a very important physical behavior, right? Okay, so talk about that already. Okay, so remember our favorable Dhammapada, verse 183. He said, to avoid all unwholesome, to perform all wholesome, to purify one's mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. And that's what Bill said just now. So, and you see, to avoid all unwholesome, to perform all this, to purify one's mind by being very reflective, contemplative, and mindful, and equanimous. And this is the teaching of the Buddhas. It's not the Buddha, it's the Buddhas. This is the teaching of all the past Buddhas. Every Buddha would teach this, not just Sakyamuni Buddha. Every Buddhist will teach this. Because why? Because the Buddha's teaching is you learn the Dhamma, you walk on this path, you benefit yourself. The Dhamma will benefit you because you practice the Dhamma, you benefit yourself from the Dhamma. And because you benefit yourself, you change yourself, you correct yourself, and you exemplify the Dhamma. And people seeing your example, people will come and talk to you, look up to you, come and share with you, learn from you, and that person will benefit from the Dhamma. So you benefit yourself by walking on the path, and then you benefit others by exemplifying the Dhamma. So you actually, it's two benefits when you practice. So this is always true. Whether the Buddha is among us or he's not here, whether he actually came as and become enlightened, whether he was here or not, is still the teachings of all the past saints and sages. Okay, so this is and when we try to practice the wholesomeness, you know what, we inevitably will develop that kind of energy field in ourselves and around ourselves. And we will attract the similar people. We will. Okay? So if you are continuously in negativity, then you will know who you will attract. It's the law of attraction. Okay? So, when we come to Samma Vacha, and what are the qualities of a skillful speech? You see, I'm actually trying to explain these few steps in very detail. Although I might not constantly remind you that you have to be mindful of this, you have to be mindful of that, but through learning the deeper meaning of each step, then you should be mindful of the benefits that you get from understanding the deeper meaning of each step. All right. So qualities of a skillful speech. The Buddha said, it's always true. It's always truthful. And how often have we said, oh, I wish I hadn't said that? Right? How often have we said that? And wouldn't it be nice if we don't have to say that again, over and over again? Okay. So, unskillful speech causes a lot of misunderstanding, doubts, and results in very problematic relationships, results in war, results in breakups and killing oneself or killing others. It causes a lot of things. I remember my teacher said, even reporters, editors, they can kill with their pen, because what they write out is what they think in their mind, and that can be a weapon. Okay, but also that can be a thing to cultivate loving kindness too, right? It depends on how people use it. So qualities of a skillful speech is always true. So what does he mean by always true? Is when you see and people ask you, did you see? You say, I saw it. If you have seen it, then you say, I saw it. If you haven't seen it, then when people ask you, you say, I haven't seen it, I didn't see it. But if people ask you and you keep quiet, did you see it? And you keep quiet, then what does it mean? Huh?
You're hiding something.
Yes. You're hiding something. So that is not truthful, right? Even though you are quiet, that might be not a skillful speech. So you have to be very careful. Or sometimes you're not quiet, so, oh, like that, okay? So we throw our hands up, we roll our eyeballs. That means something too. That could be untruthful also, right? Didn't we always do that? So we always do that. So check on ourselves. Be mindful. Be mindful. And also, the second is uplifting and not malicious, not unkind. Not unkind. Yes. We all know what does he mean by this, right? Malicious speech. And also gentle and soft, not crude and harsh. Okay? So no swearing, no hard words. And moderate, not meaningless or useless. It's very, very, it's not easy. I think rightful speech, the skillful speech is the most difficult. It's the most difficult one to abide by. I think, to myself, it's very, very difficult. In the old days, during the Buddha's time, there was this king. He had an elephant, and elephants are a very precious animal in India at that time, right? So the elephant was very gracious, looked very kind, looked very compassionate, looks very calm. And the king actually made a very beautiful stall for the elephant to live in. And for some time after the elephant was put into the stall, the king noticed that the elephant became very vicious, and always tried to stomp onto those people who tried to get him to work or try to take him out for a walk. And the king was suspicious. Why? What happened? So he asked for the advice from the Buddha, and the Buddha said, you know why? Because there is a gang actually hiding in the stall every night, talking about how they're going to murder, how they're going to rob, how they're going to kill, how they're going to steal. So all the thing that the elephant heard was unskillful speech, constant unskillful speech every night. So through the years, the elephant picked up all these messages, so it affected the elephant's mind. And the elephant became vicious, angry, not kind. So the king asked the Buddha, what are we going to do? The Buddha said, it's so easy. You chase that gang out, you put somebody there, talking about, skillful speech all the time, wonderful, loving kindness words all the time. And after a few months, the elephant became tame again, more gracious again. So as I always say, what you see, what you look at, what you read, what you hear, those are messages, those are food for your mind. But we don't realize that until we actually sit down and quiet that body and to allow ourselves to understand our mind. We say, oh, how come this came out from my mind? It seems that, I've seen a movie a long, long time ago, and all these, vicious thing came up in the mind. And you say, why? What happened? Because it got stored. It got put away into the storage, in the big storage in your mind. This is infinite storage here. How many T's? 1 T, 2 T, or 1 gig, 2 gig? It's infinite storage here. And I tell you, you will be very scared. You'll be very scared how much we can store in there. And actually, I think some of you who have counseling experiences, when you counsel people or when you talk with people, their memories from their childhood or the memories from their past experiences actually could mold a person's personality and create a very, very unskillful personality, right? So why? Because of all that experiences get stored away into the mind and constantly influence the mind. So it's not easy. Okay? So moderate. So he said by always truthful, he said that means lying is disruptive. Lying actually, because if we need to be friends, we need to have trust between us, right? And if we to be good family members, we need to have trust. Otherwise, we will be constantly in turmoil and in anger, in ill will, and a speech would be very, very unskillful, very angry speech. So on a personal level, if we lie once, and we know, oh, I lie, what am I going to do? We're trying to find another thing to cover up the lie. And so it depends how many lids do you have and how many bottles do you have. Sometimes you forget which bottle, which lid, and you get used to it because you tend to cover up. Then, one day, this personality becomes a natural personality. This lying becomes a natural thing. It just comes out. and you don't even know that you have lied, or you don't even know that you have said untruthful things. You don't even know because it's become so natural, right? So one has to be very, very mindful, very, 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 very careful. So the Buddha said, we never lie. And the Buddha, Buddha has a son, right? And his name is Rahula, and he became a monk. And one day, Rahula came to see the Buddha, and there was the Buddha's alms bowl there, with a little bit of water in there. And the Buddha said, Rahula, did you see this? What is in the bowl? Rahula said, oh, there's little water in there. And the Buddha said, yes, a bowl with little water in it is just like the spiritual achievement of one who is not afraid to speak a deliberate lie. You know what that means, right? A bowl with little water in it, that means that one who is not afraid, that means one who speaks a deliberate lie all the time, he only has very little spiritual achievement. Just like the little water in the bowl. Okay? So, and the Rahula said, oh, now I understand. Then the Buddha threw away the water. And the Buddha said, Rahula, is there any water in the bowl? No. The Buddha said, now the water has been discarded. This is the same way one who tells a deliberate lie discards whatever spiritual achievement that he has already made in the past. Okay? Understand? So he threw away the water. That means he threw away the spiritual achievement when he made a deliberate lie. Then the Buddha turned the bowl upside down. Oh no, not yet. He said, this empty bowl, not yet. He said, this empty bowl is the same way one who has no shame is in speaking a lie. That means he is empty of spiritual achievement. He doesn't have any at all because he's not shameful. He doesn't have that remorse. He doesn't even need to go and seek penitence and to correct himself. Okay? So whatever spiritual achievement that he has attained from the past, gone. Then the Buddha turned the bowl upside down and asked Rahula, what did you see? Rahula said, well, Buddha, you turned the bowl upside down. He said, yes, this is the one who tells a deliberate lie actually turns his spiritual achievement upside down and incapable of any further progress. Anybody who actually tell a deliberate lie just turn his spiritual achievement away, and it's impossible to start progressing unless one will correct themselves right there. Okay? So it is really a very serious practice, this skillful speech. Right? And abstaining from malicious speech. You know, malicious, that means like unfriendly, harsh speech, like or split up. An old saying, I don't know whether it's the Caucasian saying or Chinese saying, but an old saying is that the tongue is a boneless weapon in between the teeth. Yeah? I don't know where that saying came from, but I read from a monk writing this. He said, "This tongue is a boneless weapon because when we need the tongue to pronounce to verbally pronounce things, to verbally say things. If there is no tongue, we cannot pronounce anything. There is no words No words could come out. So the tongue is the main tool in speech. Okay? So when we speak malicious or slanderous speech, this tongue actually like releases daggers. Strike you right in the heart, right in the back, stabbing you. So it always destroys friendship, always. Destroys relationship, always. There's no doubt about that. Okay? And it divides groups, it divides people, it divides the family, it divides the sangha, it divides everything. And it creates a lot of mistrust, it creates a lot of animosity. And the motive behind this is always aversion. And or resentment or jealousy. Okay, otherwise, people will not say things maliciously or have slandering speech. Okay. So create amity and division, and motive behind is aversion, resentment, intention of causing harm or hurt, or to win affection for oneself, or the perverse delight in seeing friends divide. Some people are like that. Oh yes, yeah, better say something so that they don't gang up together. So if you don't want people to gang up together, don't gang up with them, right? Just walk away. Why do you have to gang up with them, right? So we need to be very, very, very careful in our daily words, because they can be used as weapons. They can be treated like daggers. Even public speakers, or public facilities like radio stations, TV stations, and all that, they are very responsible. They should be very, very mindful of their speech. Sometimes I saw something on the CNN. There's these people, I don't know who they are, I don't know them, but the speech that they make, I don't know why people laugh. I really don't know why. I think it's so rough, and it's so tasteless, but people laugh. The audience just laugh, or it's maybe fake laugh from the TV. I don't know whether it's true, but I can't see any humor in there. I can't see. So bear in mind, this malicious speech actually can knock people down very much, really, and you will definitely lose all the trust. Okay, so just have to be very, very careful. So some words seem gentle but derogatory. Anybody can give me an example like this? No?
Yeah, the way you say, oh sure.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Maria?
Yes.
You know what? That just, it's gone.
Oh, okay, all right, it's gone, okay. You know what? There's some is sort of like there is a back meaning in somebody's speech. It's not nice. Like, okay, maybe at this age we should dress up more decently.
I
And
think it's any sentence that has a double meaning.
yes, and that double meaning is not a good meaning. So that's so skillful speech. That means we pay attention to the words we speak, to the tone, how we speak them. The Buddha said the opposite of slander is a speech that actually can promote friendship and harmony, and can bring trust to a group. Such speech always arises out of loving kindness and and also empathy. Without loving kindness and empathy, nobody can actually speak like that. Okay, so the Buddha reminds us that our words can heal somebody. Also, it can kill somebody. All right, so the art of talking, the art of speech is very, very important. Okay, and then abstaining from harsh speech. So speak softly. There is a song, right? Old song. Maybe not too old. My age. Speak softly. Okay. So he said he avoids harsh language and abstains from it. He speaks. Sorry, I changed the font and it seems to be so small. Can you see from the back?
Yes.
Oh, all right. He speaks such words as are gentle, soothing to the ear, loving, such words as go to the heart and are courteous, friendly, and agreeable to many. Okay, so these harsh speech actually take on three forms. One form is scolding, angry with bitter words and insulting, and the third is sarcastic. Sarcastic could also be unskillful. Okay, three forms: scolding, hurting, insulting, and the third one is sarcastic. So, where does that harsh speech stem from? Oh, sorry. Actually, harsh speech comes from aversion. If there is no anger, if there is no animosity, if there is no aversion, hardly anybody can speak harshly. All right? So, and what is the antidote to harsh speech? What do you think? If you're angry, that means you are very angry. If you're angry, that means you're very angry.
It's the expression, gentle speech turns away wrath.
Turns away wrath. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes a lot of anger comes from anxiety, or sometimes a lot of anger comes from impatience. The loss of patience. Then you sort of rush through it and then okay. So the antidote is actually developing patience, more patience and more awareness. When you speak and speak slowly, more mindfully, then the words come out to be more right than wrong. Okay? So soft words are sincere words. Remember that. So this is the most difficult part. Idle chatter. Don't we all do idle chattering? He said he avoids idle chatter and abstains from it. He speaks at the right time, you see? Right time, in accordance with facts. Speaks what is useful. Speaks of the Dhamma and the discipline. His speech is like a treasure uttered at the right moment, and accompanied by reason, moderate and full of sense. That's what the Buddha said. Maria said, "Ooh."
I'm just thinking about what I told you earlier.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. So idle speech is actually pointless, meaningless talks, lack purpose or depth, and it's really no meaning, and it's just like spending time, you're killing time. So that's why people say, "I'm so busy," because they sit at Starbucks for 2 hours, idle chatter, or get on the phone or go on FaceTime, idle chatter, and so that's kind of pointless, right? And you're actually talking to a machine. Oh, by the way, talking to a machine, you'll be seeing me in the machine when I go away. We actually successfully tested out this FaceTime or Skype, so when I go away, and I can still teach on Tuesday night.
Oh, cool.
Cool, eh? So you don't need to see the fat monk anymore. Though I know that you all love him so much, but his videos tapes are also exhausted by me going away so often. So, but anyway, I think I think you all love Ajahn Brahm. But anyway, so we won't be idle chattering on the FaceTime, but I'll be, if I can do it, mostly I can do most of the time. We will do it on Skype and FaceTime. You can still see me, and I can still see you. Okay, so Kwok is working on that. So, but as householder, this idle speech is actually quite difficult to upkeep, because over dinner table you sort of talking about some meanings, and then you will say, you don't say to the family, "Hey, come on, let us talk Dhamma." So please don't be so dry, okay? You sometimes you do need some of these things, especially to children. Oh no, shut up! It's idle speech. That's not what Sifu teach. That's not what the Buddha said. I said, I tell you, you guys would chase all your children away from the Dhamma. Okay? If you want your children to come to the Dhamma, talk about all these happy things, that you learn from the Dhamma. Oh, then knowingly and unknowingly, it's gone into their heart. And when they grow up, when the seed become mature, they will come back to the Dhamma, not trying to grab them into here. All right? The more you try to grab them, the more they will run away.
Something I read once, I think, really captures it. It was a quote from someone, something I was reading. She said, "My family hates me when I'm a Buddhist. They love me when I'm a Buddha."
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm trying to,
Yes.
or if I'm just being, it's okay.
Yeah. So where we just have to be very careful, and also we have to be very careful on what we actually see from TV. Bhikkhu Bodhi actually wrote a very good line. He said, "The meaningless streams of information from the media, distracting entertainment, which leave the mind passive, vacant, and sterile."
No.
Yeah, and he said these actually blunt our spiritual sensitivity and deafen us to the higher call of contemplative life. Of course, from a bhikkhu, right? From such a renowned bhikkhu. But even as a householder, I think you have to try to be more mindful and more, have more affectionate talk, meaningful talks, and sharing talks and polite conversation, all right? So mindfulness of right speech. Wow, I thought I wouldn't be able to finish this. I make very good time. So, all unnecessary speech not motivated by generosity, compassion, and loving kindness is harmful. Okay? So, we have to constantly reflect on ourselves. Are my words true? Is this true? Is it kind? Is it the complete picture? There is a lot of time there is a protective mode in our mind. Among the whole picture, we will just talk about this little patch here, and we ignore the rest. We may have make a big mistake, but we ignore that big thing, and we only take out that part and talk about that part. Be very careful. Is this the complete picture? Is it beneficial? Does it bring benefit to you? Does it bring benefit to others? Does it bring benefit to the group, to the Sangha, to the community, to the society, to the world? Does it harm anyone? Does it harm yourself? Does it harm anybody else? Okay? Is it the right time to do it? Is it the right time to say it? If it is not the right time, don't say it. Because it could make a big difference if you pick out the right time. And how could you pick out the right time? It's a big thing with wisdom. You have to be very wise in order to pick out the right time. Okay? So, mindfulness of Samma Vacha, the right speech. Alright? Good.